I'm Wendy Jelbert and welcome to Venice in acrylics. Venice is full of the most beautiful coloured reflections and I'm going to be painting a typical bridge scene. I've transferred the image from the tracing paper onto my watercolour paper ready to be working with. First of all, I'm going to be masking off a few areas with masking fluid and my ruling drawing pen. We're going to be using various methods and one of the methods is going to be watercolour. A watercolour way, lovely and wet into wet washes and then tightening up with some perhaps thicker paint a bit later on. Venice bridges are extremely interesting because they've got so many different designs, shapes and material they're made from. And there are 420 bridges in Venice and I've photographed a lot of them. It's quite complicated this because the bridge has definitely got to be absolutely architecturally right and structurally right. Otherwise you feel very uneasy even trying to cross it. Even if you're just looking at a painting, it's got to be right. And there's a reflection in the water. Every time you do water, you need to do a zigzag to portray the action and gentle sway of the water. Zigzag, because it's that reflected and that reflected. Then these doors, the other side, are reflected. Zigzag again. Here we go. And the other side. Top of the roof. Yeah. Roof line. The curve of the window. What's so good about the masking fluid is that it cuts off the details from the washes that you're going to be putting on, and you can be as free as you like, but in the end when everything's dried you can rub back to those details and they've been saved, so it's an extra bonus. And a light here, wonderful lights they've got in Venice, very ornate, some swirls, there we go. I'm going to put the railings. Now I'd feel quite safe crossing that bridge, I think. Nice and strong and accurate. I just put in this window here, a zigzag across here and down again. So we've got everything reflected in the water that we need to. And I think that completes that. Yes, yes. The first thing I'm going to do is just to wash everything over with water and then splodge on some very colourful, delicate washes. And this is all acrylics, of course, in a watercolour way. So wash those on. And this is a pink with cadmium, red and white. Wash this right down into the water. The rule is whatever's up there comes down into the water. Perhaps a lovely streak of yellow into there. A bit more yellow the other side. That yellow echoing in the water. And some more pink. Big strokes down into the water. And this surface here needs to be just a little bit darker, perhaps with some burnt sienna, which will be slightly covered over with shadows later, but the vibrant colour needs to show through that shadow, so we want to put that in straight away. Perhaps a bit of colour there, a bit of watercolor there. And some orange around here. So it's vibrant, it is, really lovely and vibrant. There we go. A bit of light blue in the background. I'm putting some blue there, round through the back. Some chimneys and whatnots. I don't quite know what it is, but just put that into the background and wash that in there. And a little bit of blue in here at the moment. Some green shutters, let those run slightly, and green there, and green there. They seem to have got some quite lovely deep green, wine green. It's a lovely colour. Seems very, very popular with all their kind of shutters. And some green for the shadow under the bridge. I'm getting a hooker's green and a touch of yellow in there. Wiggle it again for the movement of the water. And a violet and a bit of green for underneath. The bridge. There we go. And that would be just a little bit of reflection in there. And a little bit of yellow ochre perhaps under there. Bit of reflected light which makes it not quite so dead and dense. Put a bit of green there. And a slight dark line there. Bringing in some orange and burnt sienna at the bottom here. And softening it there. The bridge needs a bit of attention, so I'm putting some violet and burnt sienna with a touch of the green into this section. Maybe I'll fill that there. And place in just a few green doors at the back. There, into the water. Into the water, and we'll let that dry. There. Using the number 8 brush again, I'm going to paint in a few of the areas with the shadows, just to give it again a little bit more form, and inside the windows, inside that window and underneath there. So this is a violet and a touch of blue. And if you find that that shadow colour is not quite right, put in a little bit of burnt sienna, and that just takes the brightness away. So I'm putting that colour in there. That colour over there. Putting some burnt sienna in over the top here. And washing that over, because the masking fluid has got to show up in this area, because it's the railings for the bridge. So we soften that, then get some blue, violet, tiny touch of burnt sienna, and wash in this side over the light and down that edge. So that edge is in contrast to that. The railings and the edge of the structure of the bridge will also show up. I'm going to put in some slight reddy colour, a bit of cadmium red, just around here. Bit of colour there, bit of colour down there, I think, and into the water. So we've got some extra vibrant colours. Now that won't show up down there so much. And then some greenery into the window boxes. And with a smaller brush, I'm just going to drop some red geraniums in there and on the top there. And a few streaks of texture in here. So you don't have to be too careful. But that's grey and a dab of cadmium red. Venice is full of decaying brickwork, but it's beautiful for us painters, but not so good for the structure of the building. This is grey, just a little bit more grey there, and dabbing some texture into there. Bigger brush again, washing that. There, and I think we're just a little touch of blue in there. Oh, and in there. Tiny touch of blue at the back. Bit bluer. Just put the last coating of the paint on there, and then we'll wait until it dries, and then we can rub off the masking fluid.